tattoos were illegal in prison, you know, so you had to have somebody watch out for the guards. I did a little Mexican lady with a sombrero, you know, and we started in Quentin, and in 65, your little machines hadn't come into play yet. So Harry Super Jew Ross, a guy from this neighborhood, you know, a friend of mine, he actually did the outline with needle and thread, E string of a guitar in a toothbrush, bang, 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 bang. Which is probably the most painful way in the world to get a tattoo.
Little did Danny Trejo know, but he was witnessing the start of an entirely new style of tattoo. And one of the pioneers of that style was Freddy Negrete.
My mother was born of Jewish immigrants in Boyle Heights. My father was Suave Pachuco, and my mother also joined the gang. And both my mother and my father ended up in prison. So my sister and I, we ended up in a foster home in San Gabriel. And I would have to say that all that trauma made me like a troubled youth. And I was searching for identity. Was I white? Was I Mexican? You know? So by the time I was 12, I found security in joining a Hispanic gang. And I went from juvenile hall to boys' home. It seemed like the only time that I was out, I was running away from some boys' home. And I go to my neighborhood and I be a crazy gangster, and then I get arrested again. And they brought this other guy in, and he was an older guy, maybe 15, 16. He had tattoos all over, you know, and I was like, whoa, man, I was so impressed. He was really cool with me, and he started telling me this is how they do it in prison. That afternoon I got out. I rigged up that little tattoo needle like he said, and it wasn't long before I became like the neighborhood tattoo artist.
In prisons, one of the things that separates Chicanos from other ethnic groups is that their sense of sharing things. So that sharing notion, that collective notion, is part of the cultural heritage.
We got the plans from, I remember Susanville Prison on how to make a rotary tattoo machine out of a cassette motor.
In the 1970s, California authorities saw they could ease the tension from prison overcrowding by allowing inmates to have cassette players to listen to music. With a cassette motor, an ordinary pen shaft, and an E-string from a guitar, ingenious inmates automated the hand-poke tattoo. The slow speed of the motor allowed the ink to be carried to the end of the sharpened guitar string.
It was fairly quiet, didn't take a lot of power. So if you put a good-sized battery behind it, it'd last for hours. To make ink, though, burn different types of papers, Bibles, pages out of magazines, catalogs, some departmental forms that the ash liquefied with water will give them different colors of blacks.
I heard about the fact that if you took the ink and put it in the window, it would evaporate and become blacker. And that if you added a little bit of water or baby oil to the ink, it would become lighter. So we were creating black, dark black, gray.
These new tones of black and gray ink gave tattoos a quality of shading and dimension never seen before.
If you were around the Chicano culture at all, you had seen those images before, and they were iconic. They were classics. It was more the expertise that they were rendered with in the skin that was the most amazing thing about them.
Actually, if it wasn't for the events that took place in Youth Authority, I probably would have never became a professional tattoo artist. I was in Preston School of Industry, so they had all the trades there. And I ended up working the camera room in the print shop. And, you know, one of the homies, he was the foreman. So he got me in on the print shop thing. And so then we got a few other homies. So we got all homies from our lodge. And the teacher of the print shop, he let us do all kinds of side projects. I would draw these tattoo designs, the Chicano style things, the smile now, cry later, the chara, skulls, you know, crazy tattoo stuff. But it was mostly like revolutionary stuff, girls with gun bullets and things like that. I would draw those up on paper, good size, we would reduce them down, and then we print them on stationery. And down in the corner, there'd be one of the little tattoo designs. We printed hundreds of thousands of copies of that stuff. They'd write their letters home. Everybody would mail them to prisons and other institutions, to where my designs made it all over the place.
Jack Rudy grew up in the 1960s near Los Angeles. When he was 17, he turned his father's electric razor into a tattoo machine.
Yeah, I started, tattooing by hand when I was 15. Me and my homeboy Manuel, we decided to tattoo ourselves one fine day. And so we're at my mom's house, found a good sharp sewing needle and, wrapped some thread around it because that's what someone said to do. And he put mom on 3 of his 4 fingers, and I did that tarantula. That's the first tattoo I ever did right there.
Jack did have like kind of a Chicano background. He was brought up in a Chicano neighborhood, ochentas, in the airport area. And that's how he got his nickname Güero, because he was a white guy and he was in the lowrider cars. And he was kind of like the non-gangster kind of Hispanic. We used to call him Continentals.
My dad used to call me Güero when I was a kid. I was adopted, but my dad is Mexican, and so he called me that because I was, And when I was 18, went in the Marine Corps, turned 19 in boot camp, got out with my friend Terry, who wanted me to tattoo him when I got out. And my machine was like shocking me, kind of wasn't working right. So I go, hey, let's go down to the Pike, see if there's anybody good down there. So we go down there, went into Long Beach Tattoo Studio, where Good Time Charlie just happened to be working. We walked over and we seen this like long-haired biker-looking dude, real cool looking and stuff. Is like, this guy looks cool, man. Let's hit him up. Terry hits him up. He's got a design. Hey, can you do this? And all this. And it's like, yeah, do that for you, no problem. And he goes like, yeah, but I don't want no color in it, man. Is that cool? And he goes, yeah, I like doing without any color. So that blew our minds right there, because in those days that was rare. Nobody really wanted a tattoo without color.